Yeah, we get started, and then if questions from the beginning, like I'm sure things might get repeated as people come on. Yeah.
Well, sorry. My name is Jared.
I'm Jenny. Oh, sorry.
So I'm a rising junior here. Currently, I'm one of the student coordinators. This is Jenny, like you just said. So basically, us for our role as student coordinators, we're working on the orientation program throughout the duration of the summer. We're here as a resource for you guys if you have any questions. We're on the Facebook group. We're engaging on social media, so feel free to reach out to us with us throughout the summer. But in this video, we're just going to be answering some questions that you guys asked on our Instagram, and then we're going to open it up to a live question a little bit later in the session.
Yeah, we also have our two other student coordinators, so Erin and Noelia. We're going to switch halfway through, and then we can do a short Q&A with them. So feel free to ask questions, but anything that we can't answer, they will answer in the chat box.
Awesome. You want to get started with the first question?
Yeah. Okay. So first question, can freshmen get quads?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Yeah. So freshmen or first year students can get quads. So we have a lot of different kinds of housing. So there's single occupancy, double occupancy. There are standard triples. So that would be a room where there's one normal bed and then a bunk bed, and then there's an enhanced triple where all three beds are on the floor, and then there's quads.
So I'll get started on another question that we got through Instagram. And this one is, how many classes do you normally take in a semester? So at Bentley, you typically take 5 classes a semester, and those classes meet twice a week for an hour and 20 minutes each. Or you can take what's called a double block class. These classes meet once a week for 2 hours and 40 minutes. So that's just another way to free up some time in your schedule to have more free time throughout the rest of your days. But typically, it would be 5 classes a semester.
We also got, do we get to choose the dorms that we live in or only the girl room? So what you're going to be doing once the housing application opens is that you're going to be submitting sort of like a questionnaire. So there's like sort of your lifestyle preferences. So just like, do you like your room cleaner, things like that, or like what time do you go to sleep? And then you would list your preferences for your first and second choice room. So that's like the type of room they want. So like we said before, the single occupancy, double, etc. And then you would be placed in them randomly. So not randomly, but just like according to whatever you listen to your preferences. You're not necessarily guaranteed your preferences, but they try their best. You also get to list who you like as your roommate. So as long as both of you agree to each other, then it should work out. And then that will come out later in the summer, like what exactly you get.
Awesome. So another question we got was, as a freshman, how much choice do you get when picking your schedule for your first semester here? You actually have a fair amount of flexibility with it. So we use the schedule planner software online, and registration for all first year students is going to be July 23rd this year. And you'll be getting more information about this as we get closer to the date. And there'll be more in-depth seminars on it through the Office of Academic Services. But basically, on the schedule, you'll pick the types of classes you want to take. There are required courses. So GB 112, which is General Business 112, is required first semester freshman course. Same with first year seminar. So there are some required courses, but you still have the flexibility in picking when you want to take those courses, as well as you can kind of pick which professor you want and what times you want to take the classes. So you do have a fair amount of flexibility. And then you do have the non-required courses to choose from. But typically, as a freshman, those would be your general education courses as you're getting those out of the way.
Also, we also got how do we complete housing information and roommates. So how we would do that is if you log into the new student portal, there's going to be housing application and there's going to be an agreement. So both are due on June 26th, but try to get the agreement done as soon as you can. It does take some time to process the agreement to open the housing application for you. And then the application will be listed probably within 24 hours of signing the agreement. But it's not like it's first come, first served. It's sort of everyone has to get it before June 26th. And then from there, the residential centers can try their best to find you housing according to your preferences.
Another question we got was, is it okay to take a language placement exam but not end up taking the language class? That's perfectly fine. I would say if you're at all interested in taking the language, I would recommend taking the placement test just so you have that flexibility and that option. It's not binding by any means, so feel free to take the test. Again, you'll be placed in the class, but that doesn't mean you're required to take that language. You can always decide not to take the language from your registration time or through Azure once you get here. And end up wanting to change it once you get to campus in August.
Cool. So next up, can we select roommates or will they be chosen for a specific? So if you sort of try to find a roommate through other methods like Facebook or Instagram or something like that, and you, as long as you both request each other, it should be fine. And then you chosen for through survey. So like I said before, there's like a questionnaire you fill out with your living preferences, and then if you don't submit like specifically who you want, it goes to people based on your preferences. They should do a pretty good job with this.
Another question we got is how is math placement determined? What are the differences between the two classes? So as far as how your math placement is determined, our office will look at the class you've taken in high school. So whether you've taken pre-calculus or calculus before or not, as well as your SAT scores, kind of look at that big picture and decide which math to place you in. And the difference between the math classes, MN 123 is an applied math course, so it kind of gets into more like business ideas or focuses on business applications, whereas 131 is more calculus focused and that has trigonometry in it, whereas 123 does not. So those are the two major differences between 123 and 131. But again, how it's determined is kind of the big picture. And if you get placed in a math and you want to be in the other one, you can always petition the office to change that. It's easier to go down than to go up, but there's still the opportunity to go up if it's something you're interested in.
Next question, put a non-honors student room with an honors student in honors housing. So this is going to go for all defined communities. You have to be a member of the defined community to live on that floor. So you know, all students on the honors will have to be in the honors program.
And then another question we got was, do the students need to buy a laptop through Bentley, and is that included in tuition? So the Bentley laptop program has changed a little bit this year, and you have the opportunity to buy a laptop through the school, but it's not required. We do have some recommended laptops that you will get through a link, and it'll be cheaper because buying in bulk, and it also comes with some benefits such as if your laptop breaks, you can bring it to the IT help desk and get a loaner laptop. It's by no means a necessity, and it would not be part of tuition. So whether you're buying your laptop through the school or going on your own to get it, you will be paying money for whichever laptop you decide to get.
I think that's all we have for like actual written out questions. Feel free to use the chat box if you like to come up with anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will switch now. So Aaron and Noelia are going to take over for a bit.
And they're also student coordinators, so we're just flip-flopping.
Hello. Hey guys. So as mentioned before, we are the other two student coordinators. Just as a refresher, we are a resource for you guys. I'm sure if you guys are in the Facebook page, you've seen it posted quite a few times. I will continue to do that throughout the summer, as well as the other guys in this room and in this chat. So feel free to reach out with to us with any questions. But these live chats happen a few times throughout the summer. So if you like this, it's an opportunity to ask questions. Just make sure you're staying up to date on social media to see what the next one is. And we also have a set of questions that we received from Instagram that we're going to be answering. And then after we get through these questions, we'll just open the floor to you guys, and any questions relating to anything we're talking about or any random questions that you can think of, feel free to ask them. Yes. So the first question we received was, when will the help forms open? And they actually just opened. Through the new student portal, you'll be able to access links that will bring you to the health portal, where the health immunization form is available and where the upload option is to upload those forms. And those are due July 1st, so make sure you do those ASAP and get them in for the deadline.
And then another question we got is, what are the best hangouts in the Boston area? So the really cool thing about going to Bentley is we are so close to Boston, so there is a lot of opportunities to enter the city. Just some options that we thought about. There's Newberry Street. It's a huge street, all of a bunch of shops, any store you can think of. They have like Ben and Jerry's, and they have like Patagonia and like all your clothing stores. So really just spend some money and go shopping. That's really cool thing to do. But then also, obviously, there's Boston Commons. It's basically this huge, large grass area in the middle of Boston, and there are also sometimes events there, different concerts will be hosted there, which is really cool. And then there's also your typical Faneuil Hall with a bunch of other stores. And then there's Tea Garden, Fenway Park, Gillette Stadium. These are typically, if you're a really big sports fan, you really like going to concerts. A lot of concerts and sports events are held in those kind of facilities. And then if you're more a musical person, there's the House of Blues, which will host pretty frequently artists. And that's kind of a cool opportunity if you kind of miss out on music tonight. And then also the aquarium. There's the aquarium in Boston, which I think is my favorite. And again, you guys will learn a lot more about the shuttle system and all of that once you get to orientation, but it's definitely a great opportunity.
So next question we got was Greek life details. Is rushing in the spring and will we be informed? So yes, rush is in the spring. You need a GPA before you're allowed to rush, and there's a minimum. You'll be informed about all of this information. It is not going to be like just randomly brought up. You'll be notified about it well before, a lot in the first semester, and then rushing takes place in the beginning of the spring semester. So you will be contacted. You'll know about it. It's not going to be a surprise. And yeah, that's it.
And then another question is, can we walk on for division level volleyball? So this is a more of a specific question that we received. My recommendation for any sports team, if you're looking to walk on, if you're looking to join, especially for the varsity level sports, I would recommend contacting that coach directly. Some varsity sports differ from other varsity sports as far as how walk-ons go. So it's really just a person-to-person.
The next question we got was best advice for making friends. And our advice was definitely go to the program for orientation. That is where you're going to meet a lot of people. It's where like all the freshmen sort of like gather. So it's a great way to meet people. It's sort of in a setting where things are going on. So even if you're not as comfortable, like you can participate in the other activities and not feel like you're just standing around. So the programs during orientation will really help you meet people. And then another piece of advice that we had was to join things. There will be an activities fair pretty early on fall semester, and you'll be able to walk through literally every single club organization will have a table, and you can walk up to any of that interests you, put your name and your email down, join ones later that you decide really mean something to you. And you'll meet a lot of like-minded people that way. You'll participate in things you're passionate about. So definitely getting involved is a great way.
And then our last question that we got is, what's one thing we should be sure to do at Bentley? I'm sorry, at orientation. The biggest thing that I guess we would recommend to you guys is have an open door policy, especially with freshman housing, like trees, like Miller. You would always surrounded by freshmen, always surrounded by people you can meet. So we recommend during orientation, you have to keep your door open. So if people want to stop in, say hey, introduce themselves, especially on your floor, I think is really helpful. Just, you have some familiar faces, put on your breakfast, that kind of thing. And then also just making that effort to kind of walk around and introduce yourself. I think the more faces you meet during orientation, it's easier to transition and really feel like that leading you home. Just because the more people you know the safer you feel, the better you feel. That's kind of our main conclusion.
So that's it for the questions that we got from Instagram. So now the floor is kind of yours. Any questions you have about literally anything, feel free to ask, and we will do our best to answer them. Sorry, we have to read them. We have to ask it.
Yeah. For choosing classes in French,
That's a good question. That is honestly preference based. If you're going into a math major, I would say like keep going because that would just help you later on. But if you're going into a field that like is less mathematical, if you feel comfortable just like staying at the level that you took in high school and just like want a refresher course, I would then take a class that's lower. That's completely preference. It really just depends on the major. On Bentley's website, you can see like required courses for each major. So if you are thinking about a certain major, I would definitely do a little bit of research to find out which classes you have to take, because then you can kind of base your decision off of that.
Yeah, and just to build off of that, I think they both have pros in the sense that if you do decide to retake the course, you know, you're already well versed on what the course has to offer, so you're more likely to get a better grade to boost your GPA. But on the other hand, if you do submit your AP score and you have the high enough score to get those credits, I think later on, as Erin was saying, like, it's just not something you plan on pursuing. It's really helpful to get those credits in because later on you start having to take your elective and your major courses. It's nice to have credits already dealt with, so you don't have to worry about it later on.
How and when do we get to choose our room/halls, or dorm, and which is better between tree or slate or trees? Which tree is the best personal experience?
So you don't actually get to choose the hall that you live in. This was kind of mentioned earlier by Ginny. You fill out a like questionnaire and you list your preferences of rooms. So like double, triple, single, stuff like that. And then based off of your preferences, you're put in a dorm. All of the dorms have like varying room sizes, so they all have like different accommodations. So you kind of just get placed into a dorm. Honestly, between the 3 freshman dorms, not one of them is better than the other. Trees is the largest freshman dorm. It houses, is it 50% of the freshman class? So Trees is the largest dorm, and it does house 50% of the freshman class. So people say it's fun because of that, but all 3 of them are equally fun and great, and you can go in between them. So you can like visit friends in other halls. And then which tree is the best for personal experience? Honestly, they're identical. They're just like the same. It's one huge building with like different trees, but they're all connected and they're completely identical. So not one of them is particularly better than the other.
And then also just to add on top of that, I would say the distinction between Slade and Trees and then Miller is that Miller does have triples and quads. So if you're looking for a triple, you're looking for a quad. Then if you do receive a triple, you will get a Miller because Slade and Trees do not offer doubles and singles.
And enhanced triples. Yes. Okay. The tuition in Bentley is quite high. There are scholarships you can apply for. There are constantly like new scholarships coming up and like alumni supporting and promoting that like certain students, and you can apply for those. So again, just doing your research, there are plenty of scholarship opportunities for you. And then again, like financial aid, if you can apply for financial aid from the government. I know a lot of students, I personally get financial aid, which is really helpful, so.
Yeah, definitely. Also, Bentley is known for like giving really good financial aid packages. And also, as I was saying, there are also like family grants, there's university grants. So from my personal experience, I would reassure you that if you're afraid that you won't be able to afford it, you don't think your family can afford it, Bentley works really well with anyone who is in need of financial aid. So I would encourage you.
Can you talk a little bit about the LSM? If you do it, you graduate with 2 bachelor degrees.
Yeah, so your LSM is another major that's a liberal studies major that you attach to your like business degree. Do you get to?
Yes, so the main degree is a Bachelor of Science, and then the liberal studies major is a Bachelor of Arts.
So you get a Bachelor of Science and a Bachelor of Arts degree when you graduate. A lot of people on campus take advantage of them. They cover a vast amount of fields. So if that's something you're interested in, I would definitely recommend doing it. Everyone that does do it loves it. It's really manageable work. So yeah.
I would keep in mind though, it is like, it's another degree, so I mean, like, you're gonna have extra work for it, you know, it's not just something you can kind of like do on the side. And I do believe it gets to a large project at the end of it, your senior year.
That exists.
Yeah, it's something that you, like, it's not, I wouldn't just take it lightly, like, if you really want to really commit to it, I really recommend it, because it looks really well, but I would keep in mind, I'm sure as you guys do your research that, you know, it is work, and you still have to, you know, it's like another degree. So just,
For finance major, what classes do you recommend? How do I choose my class?
So freshman year, especially your first semester freshman year when you don't really know anything, what's kind of good, I guess, is that there's a lot of general education courses that you have to get out of the way that are required to graduate but don't necessarily pertain to any major. So your freshman year, I would recommend taking as many of those as possible and not really worrying about classes that pertain to a major, like a finance major. So I know in your first semester you have to take a math class, so that's one course. You have to take XLOS 101, which is one course, and you have to take GB 112, which is another course. So that only leaves room for 2 more courses. And you need gen eds in history and philosophy and sociology. So I would recommend taking those courses before you worry about majors.
and then also, once you do declare your major, our academic services will work with you to kind of plan out your future. We have degree works, which you can literally, for all 4 years, pick with, not pick, but you can plan out what classes you want to take per semester. And our academic services are actually really helpful with that. You typically, once you go for the first time, you're kind of given the same staff member that you work with to kind of plan that out. So if you are worried about that, you are thinking you're gonna struggle with that, I would just head to career or academic services.
Bring to the door. I even think of.
Vacuum.
Vacuum, yes.
Definitely bring a vacuum, like a mini vacuum.
Oh, and a steamer, yes. That's good. Target has these little handheld, like, personal steamers, and they are so useful, literally, like, because you never know, like, when you're just gonna whip out your suit, like, and if it's wrinkled, you want that, so bring your steamer. And they're portable too, so I would definitely recommend the steamer.
What else? There is I'm sure in Slate Miller as well, there is like a little common kitchen that has a microwave, but if you're someone who just plans on kind of bringing your own food or wants your own microwave, I would
Recommend bringing your own.
shower shoes.
Shower shoes, bring shower shoes, and a shower caddy to like carry and put down your stuff in the shower.
Like a plastic one.
That is a 100%. Don't worry about that.
Wait, also the residential center also has like a specific partnership they have for people who want to rent micro fridges. That's on the website.
So you can rent a micro fridge, which is a fridge and a microwave connected from the res center. That's amazing. So if you just like Google Bentley Res Center or Res Life or Residential Center, you'll be able to find it there.
We're also going to be sending out newsletters throughout the summer, and I know this upcoming newsletter, we're adding a little section about like what to bring, what you might not think about bringing. So keep in mind for the newsletter because those will be really helpful.
And I know when I was coming to college, I was like, I just want like one huge list of like things to bring, and Pinterest has those. Like you can literally Google like lists to bring to college, and it will, like there are these extensive lists with like everything, and I used those and they were really helpful. So definitely recommend that too.
I noticed that Bentley is quite far off from the Boston downtown. Being a driver, which feature opportunities for comfort and using a car.
As far as internships, Bentley does have one of the top career services. I know I was talking to my RA my freshman year, asking just about like jobs and like what should I should start doing, that kind of stuff. Should I start getting internships? And he actually, his freshman year, was able to get a real internship because he went to career services. He says, look, I need a job, like here's the resume, like help me out, and they're so willing to help you. So as far as internships go and opportunities at Bentley, definitely has career services. Once you get here, maybe a couple weeks in to settle, because that shows that you're really interested.
And we have this like software called Bentley Link, and it's literally a database of opportunities for internships. I know everyone here takes advantage of that, so if that's something you're interested in, again, that's like housed under career services, so they'd be happy to walk you through it, and that's a really useful resource. And you don't need a car. We do have a shuttle service. It is changing this year, so some of the information I have is old, but there is a shuttle service that will take you to Waverly Place, and then you can take Massachusetts public transportation into Boston and around and stuff like that. So that is available. You don't need a car.
From our understanding, the shuttle system can be very fast, can be very efficient,
And reliable.
yeah, especially during the winter season. And then also, just as far as vehicles, cars, kind of that situation goes, freshmen are not allowed to have a car on campus unless it's for either medical reasons or if you have a job, you can also apply to get a parking permit. But typically, you're not allowed to have a car, so that might hinder that. Unless it is for a job. If you are able to get a job, then you're allowed to have a car.
Do a lot of people do the 4-year? Yeah. So I would say like a normal amount of people decide to do that. The BMMS program, selective. Is there a percentage of how selective they are?
I don't have a percentage, but I know that, not just like everyone gets in. Like
You
there is,
need
a
a good GPA to get in that. And difficult. One of my friends is currently doing it now, and it's just there are a lot of you're taking a lot of classes, and you have to come for like winter sessions or May intensives or take courses over the summer to be able to do it. And he forgave the opportunity to go abroad to do that. So there's a give and a take, but he's graduating with a master's degree in 4 years, so like I see why it's worth it. If it's something you're considering, I would go to academic services and talk through it with them. They have the most up-to-date information and advice about it. But it is popular on campus, and it's something that's worthwhile because you can save a lot of money if you want your master's degree, and you can do it in 4 years. So
You'll also receive emails about it. I remember my freshman year, I was constantly getting emails about it. So you'll definitely have the information.
what are the most popular clubs and extracurriculars?
Wouldn't say that they're based on popularity. I think it's kind of interesting how each club has its own like fan group.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what you're involved in, like there's gonna be a ton of people that are also involved with it or like know about it. So I guess that's kind of a fear of, if you join a club and it's like not very popular, I wouldn't join it.
I can list a few of the bigger ones though. BIG, which is Bentley Investment Group, is a really large, popular club on campus, organization on campus. If you're into investment or want to learn about it, they take like every knowledge level. Like you don't have to be a pro at it. You can literally just want to learn about like investing, and they will help teach you. So that's a huge popular one. Another one's CAB. What's CAB stand for? Campus Activities Board, and that's a really fun one. You get to be like a part of all of the huge events on campus, which I know a lot of people like. So that's another great one.
And just to note about those two clubs in particular, both BIG and CAB have different sectors. So for example, in BIG, you can be in the tech sector, you can be in the health sector, and as far as CAB goes, you can be in traditions, like event of the month. So say you want to be one of them, you're like, I don't want to do everything. You can pick what sector, what section of that club you want.
Once again, there will be an activities fair right at the beginning of the fall semester, so you'll get to browse all of them and sort of pick and choose which ones you think you'll enjoy. And see, you'll get to meet people that are part of that and like get to learn about them. So yeah.
Assuming we work with an academic advisor, so we not possibly wages program and planning. That's
My kind of question. I totally understand. Literally as early as you want, you can set an appointment. It will all be through like your work day. You'll be able to set an appointment. You'll be able to go like active advising, and you set up an appointment. You set up a time. You pick your advisor. All of them are great. And so as soon as you want to do that, you absolutely can. I have so much anxiety about the future, so I was in there right within the first semester, and I was like, I'm gonna map out my next 4 years, and took a huge weight off my shoulder. They gave me this like sheet that literally literally broke down all of the classes I will be taking for the next 4 years, and it just made me feel amazing. So if that is something that interests you, you can do that as early as you want.
Yeah, and you can also just walk in and make an appointment, because you can stay online. But I would say I would wait a week or two after registration kind of settles down, because a lot of people tend to go to academic services to fix their schedule. So I would just wait a week or two just for things to kind of settle.
And I would maybe like acclimate to Bentley first, like sit in a few classes, like sort of get your place and then go. When you come to campus, really your first priority should be to become acclimated. But you can do it as early as you want.
I have special comments on Kung Fu.
Do you guys know the process to make?
I'll come over.
Okay.
If you're
Jenny will explain how you create your own class. Special guest Jenny.
Okay, thank you, yes, design. Okay, so in terms of how you start a club, what you have to do is meet with someone at Student Programs and Engagement. So if you go onto the website, betnyspeak.com, each person who works at SPNE has their own cluster that they work with, and so you would have to go, I believe Kung Fu would probably fall under, actually, I don't know if I don't think we do have a sports. So you would just have to meet with that advisor, and you would set up a meeting with the Student Government Association, and then they have an organization management sector. So the person who's in charge of that would have to sort of look through everything that you prepared. So you have to make a constitution, you would have to have an executive board with a president, a treasurer, and that's it. A president, a treasurer is all you need. You need 100 signatures from other students stating that they do want the club to come on campus, and then the Student Government Association would vote on it. And yeah, and if you get approved, then yeah. Oh, we also need an advisor. So maybe like your professors, or like if you get close to any of the faculty on campus, then you ask them to be your advisor.
Would you say it's relatively easy?
It's definitely, it can be a longer process, sort of depending on how it goes. Getting signatures can be hard, finding an advisor can be hard, because obviously like we have very good faculty and staff members here, so a little busy. But it really depends on interest.
Thank you.
You lived in a defined community, if so, how did you feel it impacted your experience?
I didn't, but I had a lot of friends who did, and I know first off, you get to move in a day early. So our orientation starts that Wednesday, you get to move in Tuesday, which is really nice to avoid the crazy move-in hassle. And then it also goes for the rest of your 4 years. I know that if you decide to join a defined community, say your sophomore year, you find out where your housing is like spring break, like much earlier than everyone else. So you were like set, you're good. So I think that can be a really big benefit. But as far as the community goes, from what my friends have told me, you really are a community. I'm not saying that you don't become a community in your floor, like in trees or wherever you are and doing whatever you do. But it is more of you meet people on a deeper level from day one, so you do have that greater kind of friendship building kind of thing.
And I think like right off the bat within the defined community, like you're with like-minded people. If one of the defined communities really speaks to you, I would absolutely recommend staying in one of them. But like I was in a defined community and I had many friends that did live in a defined community, so it's completely possible to like meet other people outside of it. It's not like you're restrained in that community. So I think it's something worthwhile. I just have personally never partaken in it, but it's definitely something worthwhile.
Do some majors. I didn't want to study abroad.
Yeah, some majors it is more difficult to study abroad. Again, just like looking at required courses that you have to take. I'm an Eco-Fi major, which is like a double major, like to begin with, but it's like condensed kind of, but it's still, I still have to take a lot of classes, and I'm going abroad in the fall, so it's still totally manageable. Again, we have a whole study abroad office, we have academic services, there are resources available to you on campus to help you. If that's something like you really want to partake in, and you're in a major, and you're taking a double major, and you have a minor, and you're in the MSBS program, and you still want to go abroad, like the school will work as hard as they can to make that opportunity available for you. It's just about you making those appointments with academic services to really map out the feasibility, of it.
Oh, yeah.
And now she's gonna say something.
So we do offer, one of my friends did that one right now, but we do offer, if you can't fit in a whole semester, or I know some sports teams aren't allowed to do study abroad because it takes away from sports, we do offer a 2-week May intensive. So when finals are over and the year is over, it's about 2 weeks at the end of May that you're allowed to take one course, so you do get a free credit course, but you can take it. I know there's one in Cape Town, South Africa, I know there's a couple other, there's one in Iceland. So they still do offer study abroad if you aren't really, I guess, confident in taking a whole semester off. But then also, I would recommend for study abroad if it's something you're really interested in to kind of learn about it early. Because I know for me, because I'm also a people major, I know it's hard. Like saying I'm going into my junior year, I have to take all my majors, my electives, and it's much easier to take arts and science electives abroad as opposed to my required econ courses abroad. So if you are interested, I would really recommend starting to learn about it early, starting to learn about the classes to save for study abroad as opposed to taking your gen ed.
Right. And a little piece of advice, if study abroad is something you want to do, is I got my gen ed classes over with like as early as possible, and I've saved all my arts and science electives. So now that I'm going abroad, I can use all my arts and science electives, which really helped with the abroad process, just because there aren't as many business courses available abroad. So that's something you have to keep in mind. So I have all my arts and science electives, which make it very easy for me to go abroad. So something to keep in your back pocket.
And I will say, we do offer a London School of Economics study abroad, which obviously you take economic courses. You can take business courses. We do a specific programs for business courses, but I will say I believe they're a bit harder to get into.
And London School of Economics is for a 4 year.
Yeah. So if you do still want to take your business courses and you really want to commit to study abroad, that's also another option.
I studied high school in California, but almost no one in my school knows about my late.
It is, well, I wouldn't call it famous on the East Coast, but on the East, people on the East Coast know the school. One of my best friends is also from California, so you won't be alone on campus.
I love you.
Yeah, so don't there are people from all over the states. It is, in the East Coast, so a lot of people from the East Coast go here, but I wouldn't call it famous. And then it's
Side note, sorry. I will say it's kind of really interesting because when I was in high school, I had no idea what Bentley is. No one from my school had gone to Bentley. And that's not really, it's not an issue at all. It's not until I got to Bentley and I got to the Boston area, because I'm from Connecticut, that I realized how popular Bentley is, especially around the Boston area. So if you're worried that, that's just a small school, a lot of people know Bentley, especially in Boston. Or when you're trying to get an internship, a lot of people look very highly into Bentley degrees, so I would bring them.
Yeah, the question is Bentley University famous for the business world. It's well known. The reason I applied, because this is what I heard when I was applying, was the 3 B's of business, which are Bryant, Babson, and Bentley, which are all schools sort of close together that sort of focus on business. A Bentley degree, I think, takes you places just because it's Bentley, and our career services.
Yes.
What's unique about our school is that we do have partnerships with companies. So certain companies in the Boston area recruit heavily from Bentley. So that's just a nice little safety net to have, which is awesome.
And for example, I remember our freshman year, someone from Ernst & Young came and talked to all the accounting and finance courses. So like you said, there are a lot of partnerships, and you'll very easily be able to meet them. And we have a career service.
I was just going to say, twice a year we have a career fair where companies that sponsor and support Bentley and want students from Bentley come and table, and you're able to show up, drop your resume off, talk to professionals. So that is awesome.
Yeah, and a lot of people get internships from that. But I will say a side note for that, typically they won't take on freshmen and sophomores. They are looking for juniors who are looking to then become full job
employees, yeah.
But it really does not hurt at all to kind of get your name there so they're familiar with you, show that you're interested. So the career fair is definitely the key thing.
Any other questions? We can sit and wait for a little bit. Did you know that? Yeah, Bentley was popular at my high school. A lot of kids from my high school actually go here, which is kind of fun.
Texas, what are our interns?
Advice on clothing. Okay, it's fine for September, October, and like most of November. Yeah. And actually December, like it gets like chillier, but it's not like that bad. January, February, and March, you better have like a coat that goes down to the floor. Like it does get cold here.
It's also windy.
And like snowy and rainy. The weather is so sad, but then it gets beautiful again. So I would just definitely get like like a lot of my friends have the coats that like go to like your knees kind of. I just have personally a little plug for LLB. An 850 down from LLB is a really good coat. It's like really warm. I really like it.
Yeah, but I definitely like bring your raincoat, bring your umbrella, bring your winter coat.
Yeah,
like any weather.
Boots, yeah, like boots. It does get like snowy. It does get cold here. I'm not even sure about that.
The super expensive ones.
What coats you guys have? Yeah, the 850 down. I don't think 850 down is that expensive. I don't know.
It's an investment.
I think honestly, like it's an investment. If you're gonna end up staying here 4 years, getting a nice coat is worth it if it really doesn't.
I will say though, like I know a lot of people have like the Canada Goose jackets.
Those are really, you do not have to get a Canada Goose jacket.
Mine, I'm pretty sure mine, I think it was like Land's End or something. Land's End? But like you can find like a nice winter coat for like $100. Like you don't have to go above and beyond. It's not like Antarctica.
Yeah.
It's like negative 10 degrees. So I wouldn't worry about the expensiveness of it. Just something that gets stuff done.
And what boots? LL
Bean boots.
Bean boots. LL Bean boots are perfect for like sleet, snow, rain.
Yes.
They do it all. You can probably go hiking in them if you want to go hiking.
Everyone has them.
Yeah, that's like a popular boot on campus in the winter. So LL Bean boots.
Savers, so let's just go to Savers.
Yeah, receivers. Do students often go to the Waltham town? Oh,
Our Stuco is from Waltham.
Yeah.
Here.
So my favorite street is Moody Street.
Yes.
Moody Street has like restaurants. It's where I get my eyebrows done. They have nail places. This is like all the really stuff. But the restaurants on Moody Street are great. A lot of people eat on Moody Street. So yeah.
What else? My main recommendation is usually Moody Street just for the food. There's all types of foods, like any type you would want there. Also, there's a lot of like really nice parks, but that you go to basketball courts, roller hockey courts are really fun. There's a trampoline park. I'm trying to think what else. Mostly I just recommend food to people.
It's mostly Moody Street. I would say that's like a popular thing that people go to.
I look Waverly Oaks as like city street.
Oh, city streets, yeah. And there's a main street with like other like
Main Street.
shops and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot to do all here.
Okay, that's all.
Hi, Jared.
Discretionary fund. Oh, that's a great question.
I would, from my personal experience, I'm typically the person that uses up my discretionary dollars quite fast. The dining hall is really not bad. Like you will get, your chicken, your salad, like your basics. It's not bad at all. But the handy thing about discretionary dollars is that you can kind of grab it on the go, and a lot of people grab like a bagel or like coffee before you go to class. That does kind of go by fast. So I would just recommend, my personal tip is try and use as much dining hall in your first like couple weeks or a month or two, and then save your discretion because you don't realize how fast that kind of goes by.
a system I had my freshman year, which helped me, I think, save Discresh, was I use my Discresh for breakfast. So I would like go up to Upper and I would get an Einstein's bagel. That's like the bagel shop on Upper, which is my classes. I've been using all this lingo and you guys don't know what it is, but that's okay. So I would use like my Discresh for that. So like, and then I would use my meal swipe for lunch and dinner. So like, if you sort of like have a system, you could like sort of make your discretionary balance last. A lot of people like to blow all of their discretionary on Macaba. Macaba's great, they have soup, which is good.
Really good wraps.
Really good wraps. So it's a mix of both, especially freshman year. A lot of like freshmen, like your main source of food is the dining hall, so it's not like, it's like you all sort of just like eat at the dining hall often, so you wouldn't be left out if you did. So has to be a closer for the textbooks. I usually, so like you can buy textbooks through the university, through our like bookstore and stuff.
Yeah, the bookstore has its own.
The bookstore has its own page and like you write your textbooks through there. What I do is I like find my required textbooks and then I search for them on Amazon and I see whichever ones are on Amazon that I can rent. Usually Amazon's a lot cheaper. And then they like send them right to your house and then all you have to do is at the end of the semester return them back to Amazon. So I know a lot of people do that. How often do you need them? That's you can like wait to buy textbooks. I would sit in a few classes like and sort of like get the feel of the class because it really differs. Some professors go by the book and if you don't have it, you're screwed. And other professors kind of discard it. So I would just wait and see and buy books based off of that.
I will say though, if I agree with that, but I will say if a professor in your first couple days says like this textbook is required, for example, I would purchase it because while you may not use it as much as you would have hoped to, sometimes they'll put like homework in the books or just little things. So just to make sure that you're not behind on anything, if a professor just say, this textbook's required, or if they say it's not required, it's just for your own personal, take on what you want out of it. But yeah, definitely.
Another resource a lot of students use is Chegg. Is Chegg. So you can get books through there. You can also have like online study tools for the on Chegg. So if that's something you're interested in investing in, go for it.
And sometimes you go out to purchase like an online code; those are all definitely required.
Yeah.
Because not only will it usually have your homework online, but also there sometimes tends to be an online textbook that might be cheaper than the actual physical textbook. So if you have to get some online code, it's definitely
How do you get good grade in college level class?
Go to class.
Go to
class. Don't skip class.
Yeah.
It's so easy to just be like, oh, it's one class. Like, because once you start, like, you're not gonna stop skipping, and it's not worth it. Go to class. And this is something my dad always told me from when I was like little. Like he was like, when you're in college, he was always like read before the class. That has helped me so much. I read the chapter before I go to the class where that chapter is talked about, so that way when like terms are thrown out, I'm familiar with them. I kind of know what they're talking about. I don't have to do like a deep read beforehand, but just to glaze over ideas. That really helps. So that's some advice for me personally.
I also would definitely say, especially in your freshman courses, sometimes homework isn't required. I know that might be different from your high school experience. It's kind of like, oh yeah, just do the homework, I'm not going to check it. Typically your professor will say you are adults, you can make that decision. I 100% recommend if there's homework to do it, because a lot of people can get into the habit like, oh, it's not required, it doesn't affect my grade, it doesn't affect my GPA, like why should I do it? But it is good practice, and if you're just constantly on top of that, you're doing your work, you're going to class.
And you don't want to be the person that when finals roll around, you're like, oh, I have to reteach myself this entire class.
Yeah,
like
24 hours in the library.
That sucks. That honestly just sucks. And you have to be great. So just like stay on top of it. You have to be self-sufficient. It's not like high school, but it's not like it's drastic change where suddenly it's like you've been to school, you kind of know how to school, so just keep schooling.
But I will say, because at college, you know, you are free, you are your own independent person, you decide whether you're gonna go to class, whether you're gonna do your homework. I do recommend, I'm sure you do, like getting a planner, like holding yourself accountable for what you do, because, you know, your parents aren't gonna be living in your dorm with you, like you are by yourself, you are, you know, on top of your own stuff. So just make sure that, you know, you're taking it seriously.
Your tutors. No, I was planning on doing iPad. Stop. I can't look at you like this. I'm trying to get an iPad for my classes next year. Will I have any limitations in the software?
Yeah, I would highly recommend not relying on your iPad, because a lot of courses, for example, IT 101, you have to have a certain software for it. You do a lot of coding, a lot of that kind of stuff. And if you have a Mac, you then have to download the Mac Microsoft software to then be able to take this class. So I know with computers, you can either get one through Bentley, you can buy your own, but you definitely need a computer that can hold.
I would totally I agree with that. And just like other classes you take down the road, it's just so useful to have a computer. And all the general business courses that you're required to take, it's just, I would really recommend it. And then just a side note about like studying and success in college, there are also peer tutors. So if you are struggling, and there's so many academic like resources or just like labs that are staffed by peers that are like excel in a certain topic, and they are so willing to help you. I know I spent a lot of my freshman year in math lab, and that helped me so much. So those are also available to you for your success in your
and just if that's, say you had a peer tutor, you really enjoyed it, you can also then apply to be a peer tutor. I have a lot of friends who are peer tutors, and I know it's a service that is really helpful for a lot of people at Bentley. So I would definitely, if it's also something you're interested in, just that you can easily apply for.
What would you say is the biggest transition from high school to Bentley?
So for me specifically, I was extremely structured in high school. Like I woke up in the morning, I went to school, I went to my dance practice, I ate dinner, I did my homework, I went to bed. Like it was like so structured, and then I came to Bentley and it was like, you have classes, like one class here, and tomorrow you have 3 classes, and I was like, what? So like I had to make a schedule for myself. I also had so much more free time than I was anticipating. So how I was feeling that, and the things I wanted to get involved in, and stuff like that. So it might seem really overwhelming when you first get there, but as soon as you start joining clubs, joining organizations, like finding your footing on campus, you'll be able to structure your life a lot more. So now I have like a routine, and I feel like I have control of my life, which is a good feeling. So I think that was like one of the biggest transitions for me.
Yeah, and I think similar, like having all that free time is kind of a really big transition, but also joining clubs, joining sports, you know, becoming involved on campus. I think in high school it's pretty simple, like, you know, you just stay after school or you like talk to this teacher. But I mean, there is the reality that, you know, you're an adult now, like you make your decisions, you have to go out and meet people and join these clubs and, you know, put the effort in. I think that was something that I had to learn, is that, you know, you are an adult now, you're starting to learn how to put the adult.
Well, 8 a.m. is really giving me a side because I heard, no, I mean, I am a morning person and I like them, but I have friends that are not morning people that hate waking up at anything with the word number 7 before it, but they survive them. I promise. It's not the worst thing in the world. And honestly, I prefer morning classes because then you get it over with, and then you're done with class, and then you have the rest of the day and do whatever you want. So that's my personal preference. And they're 8 a.m. they won't give you. I swear, yeah. Okay.
And if you think about it, like for college, you have like maybe you should have 1 class a day, and that's your 8 a.m. Or you have 2 classes a day, like, and it's your 8 a.m. So worst case scenario, you can wake up, go to class, come back, and have free time to like take a nap or kind of relax a little bit.
I'm not alone.
You know, it's not just from waking up at 8 till like 2:30 p.m. You know, you have that free time to kind of relax and de-stress too. And also, for example, I was in a morning bomb, which is from 8 in the morning to 11, but professors, if you do have a bomb, there's also day bombs and night bombs. You get a break in between to either, go grab a coffee, or like go grab a bagel. Some professors will account for that as well.
Are you on the dance team?
I was on the dance team my freshman year. I actually got an internship my sophomore year that was just too time consuming for me to stay on the dance team, which made me absolutely heartbroken. I love the Bethany dance team. If it's something you want, shameless plug for the Bethany dance team. If it's something you want to try out for, I would highly recommend. We are a competitive team, so we do compete at nationals. It's great. You can just try out. I'm sure the captains will be posting in the 2023 page about like tryouts and stuff. So just wait for that information to come out, and I would totally recommend trying it out.
And so we still have one last question because we're running out of time. But it is, what is the time commitment like for a sport? So just to kind of talk about sports a little bit before we end, there's intramural sports, there's club sports, and then there are varsity sports. So just talk about intramurals a little bit. It's maybe once a week, you have your little soccer game, and like that's it. You don't have any required practices, you don't need a coach. It's really just an hour a week to kind of mess around with friends, play a little sport.
Unless you want a super intense intramural team, and gather your friends that are super into it and do it. That's fine.
And then club sports are a little bit more committed. You have a coach, I know the rugby team is a big popular club sports. I know they have tournaments, they have, their games, their practices. I would say a club sport is more like high school sports. It's like you just have your practice, you have your games every once in a while. But you're still on that team. It's a real team sport. And then for varsity sports, that's when you got your highly committed and dedicated athletes. They're practicing constantly. I know, for example, the winter sports have to stay for winter break. That's when your full commitment is on. You are a student athlete. But I would recommend, if you really love sports in high school, to join any club sport.
Yeah. That is all the time we have for this session. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll have more of these throughout the summer. Again, we will be posting about them on social media, so just stay up to date. Follow us on Instagram. We actually are also going to be going live every Sunday from 3 to 4. Again, that's just another informal setting to ask questions. So at Welcome Falcons on Instagram, if you like this and want to ask more questions, definitely look out for that. Yeah.
We're your Seacoast.
We're your Seacoast, and we're very excited about you guys campus.
So
So
excited.
thank you guys.
Oh no, we haven't ended it. Now it's just us.